Hello, this is Firefighter Tiger, co-host of the Public Safety Future Responders podcast, back with another episode of our main series, episode 4. This time we will be diving into law enforcement in terms of risk management. Folks, I just want to let you all know, these are not my own words. These are actually my own words, not actually backed by research. They do not reflect any practices of the police department, just putting it out there, folks, just so I don't that way y'all understand where I'm going with this. In terms of risk management for law enforcement. Oh, with my co-host Medic Doc, who is unfortunately not here. Sorry, I forgot to throw that in at the beginning. Basically, in terms of risk management, according to the Police Chief magazine, which will be linked in the description, a risk management is a key component in public safety, regardless of the functions. Many law enforcement leaders must understand that risk management has to be practiced in every facet of the profession, regardless of your rank, and like it is in the fire service, even the same thing too. Regardless of rank, whether you're a police chief, a police lieutenant, police captain, a police officer, regardless of what rank you are, whether you're in the detective bureau, SWAT, you name it, whatever, it covers the entire book. In fact, that police experts believe the risk management needs to be addressed in the agency's policy, procedures, and general orders in terms of how to run a smartly efficient police department. Agencies that employ proper risk management protocols clearly define their missions, mitigate and reduce risks and liabilities, and inspire buy-ins, which apparently means support and ownership at all levels of the organization. So whether you're a police officer at the bottom or a police chief, risk management should be clearly defined. Experts also believe that risk management is mitigated through relationships and communications with successful community-to-police relationship. Folks, if you're in the law enforcement, yes, I understand that they do get bad rap because of what they have done and everything, and not getting into that part. But basically, the police department, if you need to build trust with the community, and you'll get the same respect back. Work with the community and build the trust. If you cannot do that, then I hate to say this, but why are you even in the police force then? And right now, according to Police Chief magazine, there are progressive risk management trends in law enforcement already underway by leading agencies that have figured out how to do it right. Agencies that employ proper risk management, which is RM, protocols clearly defines their mission, mitigate and reduce risks and liabilities, and inspire buy-ins, which just basically is support and ownership at all levels of the organization. Flagship agencies understand that successful risk management protocols emphasizes both protection and service of all communities, including their own first-line personnel. Basically, if you cannot have that really successful risk management procedure in place and something goes wrong, then you're kind of, and the expression is you're kind of left there holding the bag because the cat just jumped out of the bag. So we're going to dive into it. First off, risk management. Definition, facts, and myths. Risk management has been defined as identification, analysis, assessment, and control, avoidance, minimization, or elimination of unacceptable risks. Doesn't matter to which profession, to the profession. In order for risk management mind set to matter to everyone, it has to make sense and be relevant to all individuals and groups affected. One step to creating this buy-in of support and ownership in understanding is to dispel several myths about risk management. Dr. David Hilson, known as the Risk Doctor, according to the Police Chief magazine, identifies the following 10 myths of risk management. Basically, number 1, all risks is bad. Number 2, risk management is a waste of time. Number 3, what you don't know won't hurt you. Number 4, risk manager manages bad risks. 5, all risks can and should be avoided. 6, our projects aren't risky. 7, risk management requires statistics. Risk management are covered by routine processes. And contingency is for wimps. Risk management doesn't work. Those, as according to Dr. David Hilson, are the 10 myths of risk management that he identified as the risk doctor. Imagine if everyone in law enforcement really held these attitudes how often would leadership and lawyers battle at mitigation meetings? How stressed and stressful risk management teams be in response to the liabilities? How difficult would it be for supervisors to manage their personnel through this culture of competency? A quick online search can result in multiple examples of court cases and payouts to settle cases between citizens and the police agencies. Folks, basically, in terms of whether you're a police officer or a community member, reach out to your police department or vice versa and kind of say, hey, we're hosting this event. Why don't you come join us and kind of do more community involvement? Folks, if you cannot really have a community involvement with your police department, then you can't really build that really trust with the police department. And as we have seen countless times, especially in the United States, to the fact of when you don't have that trust with the police department, things will turn bad, as we have seen with riots and protesting in numerous cases in the United States, and it happens around the world, even in Europe and Russia, just to name a few places. So, risk mitigation and risk management protocols. According to the Midwest Public School District in the magazine, the risk management team with its own school police agency provides the following 5 risk management phases they propose to be followed by all employees, regardless of the ranks. Number 1, identification. Number 2, analysis. Number 3, control. 4, finance. 5, administration. Basically, identify any and all hazards. Analyze those hazards as to their relevance. 3, reduce or eliminate identified hazards with training, engineering control, or transfer. Determine how much it is going to cost to control hazards and how those costs will be paid, and the ongoing review and implementation of the above. 4, finance, control, analysis, and identification. Risk management is both proactive and reactive. Agencies are proactive when they are making risk management a priority and seek potential threats and problems on the front end. Determine priorities for teaching and educating employees by using the law of total probability, calculating different parts, fully or partially known, to come up with the total. Applause is due to law enforcement leaders who recruit the best people to sit at the table of risk management and who are true troubleshooters and problem solvers. They're looking for legitimate change agents and leaders. Agencies that believe they do not have the capacity or capability to worry about risk management or do not have the resources to implement risk management plans should seek out experts. There are a lot of good third-party contractors who are willing to come in and help police departments to develop a risk management policy and procedure to help make a successful police department. Major troubleshooters and problem solvers might be inside the agencies that were not yet considered. Seek them out, recruit them, utilize them, reward them. If the agency has a risk management team, incorporate them in as many meetings as possible. If the agency does not have a risk management team, design one. Take experts who are recognizing the problems that are needing to be identified in the police department to be able to make it better. Which is basically coming down to the bottom line of going right back to like how I said it in our previous episode, talking about the fire service risk management practices, to the fact of you want to build trust with your community. As members of the first responders communities, police departments are there to help serve and protect the people of their community/jurisdiction, regardless of what rank they are, whether they're captains, lieutenants, just your normal police officers, or depending on the agencies of Detective Bureau, SWAT, you name it. Basically, their main objective is trying to build the trust with their community so that way they can have a better bond and relationship with the community. And if they can't do that, then we're just going to continue having these same problems of people complaining about their police departments. So really, in conclusion, law enforcement executives must make a risk management an integral part of daily operations, management, and administration. Leadership has the challenge of getting all levels of employees to support each other, and to buy into the attitude of personal safety. In addition to each officer's safety goal to make it home, one's wellness, health, and personal satisfaction also matters. The challenge is to move the concept of risk management away from the idea that the responsibility falls entirely on the risk management team and more towards the practice of ownership of one's own personal safety and the safety of others around them. Which is basically, to really put it in more simpler terms, folks, it's basically while worrying about yourself, instead of trying to put the blame on somebody else, admit it yourself. If you're the one that made the mistake, admit it. Come forward and say, "Hey, chief, I made this mistake." And correct the issue right there and there. That way you can improve and be better for your next time around, instead of having to cause issues and fall backwards. Um, in terms of departments needing to understand the risk management, it's not a one-done approach to policies, procedures, and general orders. Basically, it's not a short-time solution that we can come up with and put a band-aid on it and say, okay, yeah, we got this in play, now we're going to work. No, it's a long-time situation that we need to address, and we have done it numerous times. And as we've seen the results, we need to improve our risk management. Yes, we're also worrying about our own safety, but you got to also worry about your own safety and those around you. And if you can't do that, then you got a problem, and you kind of need to work on it, in my opinion. And if you're the agency's leader, like a police chief or a police lieutenant that oversees the daily operations, make risk management a priority in your department and get that addressed, because every day, from what police departments are doing, you see different kinds of risk management almost every day. Like the police departments are taking risks every day, regardless of where they are. Everywhere in the world, there are different risks that are associated to different places. Whether it's risks of being shot at, risks of basically one of the risks is risking their lives to try to save others, trying to be able to de-escalate a situation before it gets worse, and if you can't really have that bond with the community, then you kind of need to work on it, in my opinion, as we have seen numerous times, especially with different minority populations out there that kind of seem to feel the need to express their feelings, which is fine, because everybody's entitled to their own opinions. Basically, going back to law enforcement leaders should communicate the needs and model risk management behavior to foster the cultural development. As previously stated, the culture of each agency is reflected in its organizational behavior beyond rule books and policies. You can have rule books and policies in place and making sure that your officers do this. Sorry. But unless the officer can capably demonstrate to not only you but to their community partners to the fact that they're well behaved and they're being appropriate and that in their community, both inside the police station and outside, then that is a plus. If you cannot behave appropriately and it goes against your rule books and policies, then if I were you, you kind of might want to lead the police force in that. Not that I'm saying there have been cases of that, because there have been. If policies need to be revised, employees need to be retrained, or budgets need to be analyzed and reappropriated, then the agency leaders need to make those things happen. Lives are at stake, and leaders should be able to communicate the needs of risk management and say, "Hey, listen, folks, this is what we have identified as our risk management. These are our risks, and this is how we're going to manage to be able to improve it and make it better." And that. So basically, overall, really, regardless, even though it's about public safety and it's from the police chiefs magazine.org, but in a sense, really management as a whole across all three fields, whether it's firefighting, police, or emergency medical services, to the fact that risk management is a very key component of every operation in public safety, because you need to really step back, examine the risks, and go, okay, how can we manage to mitigate or remove this risk, so we don't have this happening as a result of not clearly taking out the risk, so we don't have a problem. Being able, whether it's like a teamwork, communication, if you identify that as a risk, then you kind of need to work on that. Because really, if you're on a hostage situation, communication is the key. And being able to identify that as a risk and trying to improve it before a situation goes worse, then in a sense, that's how it's gonna play, folks. So I know that was a lot of information. I did paraphrase from the Police Chiefs magazine because of it being a good one. But overall, in my opinion, really, in terms of risk management should be a tool in your book for regardless of whether you're in the public field or you're or law enforcement, firefighting, emergency medical services, regardless. Risk management is a priority and a key component to pretty much almost every life, mainly focusing towards public safety. But really, if you think about it, risk management is a key component almost anywhere you go, really. And then, of course, according to the Office of Justice Programs for the United States, and their abstract, in developing a risk management plan, police administrators should entrust the project to a reliable subordinate, gather information about previous and current lawsuits, designated departmental liaison for risk management matters, outline department needs relating to potential liability to the risk manager, and the react quickly to incidents which may lead to lawsuits, meet with corporation counsel and the department legal counsel, undertake a comprehensive liability assessment, review high risk / critical tasks, and consider applying for the police department's accreditation. Basically, most of that, what I just pretty much probably said, just probably summarized a description for a human resource person within the police department. They are good people because they deal with really mismanagement and kind of assign the fact of, hey, you got a problem here. We have identified these risks. We need you to address this because we are getting sued and that, so to speak. And one last thing before I end this recording is the fact of, in terms of risk management, I'm going to put this out here because just to make it so you guys can actually understand it, because some of you all are probably going, well, wait a minute, he's talking about risk management, but what about in terms of risk management in terms of between real life and shows? Folks, here's your answer, in my opinion. Basically, what you see for risk management in TV shows are completely different than real life. What you are seeing on TV are completely different than what you see in real life. Risk management in real life basically deals with real situations, with real problems, and they need to fix quickly and in a time constraint. You cannot see that really in TV shows because of the way Hollywood puts it to fit in a 1 hour time block on your local TV. Whether that is few other TV shows that Hollywood has done. But really, if you think about it, risk management is kind of poorly practiced in TV shows because it tries to fit it in within an hour time block, folks. Sorry to tell you the truth there. But anywho, going back to law enforcement risk management, basically, overall, in conclusion, with law enforcement practices of risk management, law enforcement agencies should be able to work on risk management and that. So that will do it, folks, for this episode of Public Safety Future Responders podcast with your co-host Firefighter Tiger and co-host Medic Dog for our season 2, episode 4, Law Enforcement Risk Management Defined. You all have a good one, folks, and we will see you on another edition of the Public Safety Future Responders podcast. Please also be on the lookout for the fact of our Operation Standby episodes that have been also being published on our YouTube channel, so go have a look at those. So, folks, this is Firefighter Tiger, co-host of the Public Safety Future Responders podcast, wishing you all good day on this Monday, October 9th. You will be listening to this probably on Friday. So, folks, you all have a good weekend, and we will see you all on the next edition of the Public Safety Future Responders podcast. You all have a good one.